Hey there and welcome. My name is Pete and this is another one of those channel updates. It's summer already, time to talk. Just a quick reminder, while we haven't had one of these in a while, I'm doing channel updates quarterly now, and I actually wanted to have this one up by the end of June just to keep a nice rhythm, but as it happens, life got in the way, other videos seemed more important, and now here we are a few weeks later. But don't worry, even though we are officially already in the third quarter of 2023, we will still have 4 of these videos this year. Now, as always, there are a couple of things I would like to speak about, and let's begin with a quick look back. Maybe you have noticed it too, over the last few months the channel's video output has been a bit higher than at the beginning of the year. Just as a comparison, in January, February and March I was only able to upload about once a week with 4 to 5 videos per month, while in April, May and June I have been able to more or less double that video output. On average I'm uploading twice a week now, even though the last 2 weeks have once again been a bit slower, but we'll get to that shortly. So what's the secret? Well, I think it's a couple of things. First of all, I feel like I'm starting to do a little bit better mental health-wise. Don't get me wrong, there is still a whole lot of work to do, but I'm taking small steps in the right direction. The other point, and please don't laugh at this, is that I have started to implement office hours for myself. Yes, to most of you this might seem completely trivial, but put yourself in my position. I am a self-employed YouTuber who also works part-time at a university. And in both of those jobs, I am more or less entirely free to choose my working hours, which on one hand is absolutely great, especially in the summer months. I'm basically free to meet people for drinks whenever I want to. If there's no work to do, I don't have to be in the office, and I basically always have time to take care of those things that just need to be taken care of right now. On the other hand, all of this can be absolutely horrible when you're not strict enough with yourself and your work priorities, and I think that one of the main problems in the past was that I wasn't. So while I was entirely free to spend the time that other people would be stuck in the office, just shopping for groceries, doing my dishes or taking a call from my parents, all of that led to that feeling that I'm never fully at work, but at the same time also never fully away from it. My therapist has described this as home office syndrome, not entirely sure if that's fitting, but in any case, what has really helped me is setting very strict times for when I'm working and times for when I'm not. Just to illustrate this point a bit more, up until April of this year, I cannot really remember having a true weekend where I did not spend at least a few hours working. And don't get me wrong, I know this is an extremely privileged position, and in the beginning, a few years ago, I really liked this setup, this freedom to do work whenever I choose to and to not do it when I have other stuff to do. But over time, I feel like it has led to this feeling of being always on, to not being able to really shut off my mind from work-related stuff, because in theory, I could answer all of those emails right now, I could record that next episode right now, and I could write a few more Patreon postcards right now. So once again, as trivial as this might sound, it was a bit of a journey for me to get here, but then again it is also remarkable to see how such an obvious little thing can have such a huge effect. So that just as a quick peek into how I'm doing and what goes on behind the scenes. Like I said, mental health is definitely a journey and I'm nowhere near the end, but this entire office or working hours thing definitely feels like a huge step for me. At the same time, I still remain very cautious in terms of not overworking myself, which brings me to my next point, a question that a lot of you have been asking me over the last few weeks. When will we finally begin Chapter 2 of our Rimworld series? And I think for me the best way to proceed here would be to wait until the Mass Effect series is over. I definitely do not want to put that on the back burner again, especially not with the grand finale coming up soon, and I also know that I currently do not have the capacity to handle 3 series at once. I do have quite a few ideas for that second chapter of Rimworld though, so at the moment I'm thinking as soon as the Mass Effect series is over we can hop in straight away. And to be perfectly honest, I had not expected the Mass Effect series to last this long. I did completely underestimate the sheer size of the Citadel DLC, which we have now been playing for the last 6 episodes, since May that is, and there is still 1 more episode to go. After that, however, I think it will be a fairly quick wrap-up with the last few missions the game has to offer. We are pretty much right before the big point of no return before the game's finale, so I am cautiously optimistic that the next time we'll have one of these channel update videos, I will be talking about Rimworld and not so much about Mass Effect. And while we're on the topic of current and future projects, maybe a few words about the XCOM series as well. Although there really isn't that much to say, we are now firmly in the mid-game with the first small standalone DLC in Shen's Last Gift just completed, and considering what we still need to do to achieve full completion, I think the series will continue on for quite some time. And because it will, let me also quickly mention once again that the community character pool for the series is still open for submissions, so if you are a Patreon supporter or need a good reason to become one, you can submit your very own character to appear in the series. As always, there is no guarantee it will make it in, all of that is handled randomly, but at the time of recording this, the series already features 35 community-created characters, and we are only 30 episodes into the series, so that's a bit more than one new character per episode. In other words, your chances could be worse. If you're interested, I'll leave a link to a video explaining exactly what you need to do to submit a character. You can find that down below in the description and the comments. That's pretty much all there is to say about XCOM at the moment though. However, I have been contacted by the developers of several other XCOM-like tactical action games. Games like Miasma Chronicles, Shardpunk Verminfall, or Every Day We Fight, the game that Christopher Ott is also involved in. And I could see myself making 1 or 2 videos on those games too. No complete series at the moment though, that just wouldn't fit into my schedule. But let me know if that's something you would like to see and if there's one of those games that you would like to see in particular. A word of caution though, those would very much be side projects for me, so the regular series will always take priority, and videos on these games would be somewhat along the lines of the Hogwarts Legacy video I did, albeit a lot shorter I think, so think a thorough guide to getting started, but nothing that dives too deep into the mid or end game. One final thing and then I think we're done talking about videos. As you may have noticed, over the last few months I have been loosely experimenting with doing YouTube Shorts. At the moment, there really is no rhyme or reason behind it. Whenever I upload a short, it mostly means that I just had 1 hour of time on my hands and a video to serve as inspiration. So at least for the time being, there is no elaborate content strategy behind it. And despite what other YouTubers report, I personally do not see that much of an impact from shorts. They perform a little better than regular videos when it comes to bringing in new viewers, but at least for me at the moment the case is still open on whether or not those viewers actually stick around. So at the moment I don't really have that much of an incentive to devote more of my time into making shorts, but then again, maybe if I do them more often the effect could be more noticeable. If you happen to have any ideas that would fit the short format, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. I know that there is definitely some potential there. The main question at this point is how much effort would be required to unlock it, and for me that is the deciding factor in whether or not shorts are worth pursuing in the long term. And with that, I think let's close the lid on all the talk about videos and series and all that stuff. If there's anything more you would like to know, just leave a comment down below. On these channel update videos I always try to answer a few more of them. And with that, I think we can slowly start wrapping up the video. However, of course we can't do so without giving a big and well-deserved shout out to all the Patreon supporters who have joined since the last time we did this. So from March to and including June, in no particular order, I would like to say thank you to Robert Shelton, Boylad Mate III aka Turtso, Tired Hungry Migraine, Alexei Sava, Ricky Ritchie, Lone Wolf, Cameron Salisbury, Konstantin B, Hamza Fejala, Erdnus, Mendoza, Raichi, George Goulis, Nathan Stanley, Beetlehead, Xion, Gordis Hoyano, Sandman, Tiffy, Godman, Core Repair, Daniel Ramirez, Confused Raccoon, A Quasi Doctor, Boyo, Evelyn D, Sentient Software, David Mathis, -1, Big Cheese, Spider Span, Dylan Rehmeyer, David Benitez, Omega, Red Fighter 67, Jakub Suder, Pierre Hugo, Robin Jacobi, Mr. Beaver, Chris Felior, Tidepool, Deborah Mitchell, Scott Zadigian, Zerban Raya, Bakelit, Jonathan Isaacs, Ben PV3, Jake Mossop, and Dr. Righteous. As always, I hope I pronounced all of your names correctly. I'm sure I butchered a few of them. Above all though, thank you all so much for your support. And with that, let's make the cut for today. We'll talk again in about 2.5 to 3 months. Until then, you have the regular content for your at least weekly dose of Pete Complete. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up, and if you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can of course go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.